Hey guys, do you love food? Do you find yourself searching for the freshest ingredients and best way to prepare a dish? Well, some might call you a foodie. I'm a classically trained chef. I have my own cooking show, and when it comes to ingredients, I feel the same way. Today, we're gonna learn all about eggs. I'm Liz Bramwell, and this is The Foodie. I love eggs, and my favorite brand to buy in the grocery store is from the Country Hen. They're the most nutritious, best tasting, humanely raised eggs here in New England. I decided to head out to their farm in Hubbardston, Mass, and I got together with their operations manager, Bob Beauregard, and he showed me exactly how it's done. So let's check it out. All right, Bob, so you've brought me into the egg processing plant. Will you explain to me this big kind of U-shaped machine?
Sure. Well, there's obviously a few things that we do different here, okay? We have to wash the eggs.
Yes, you do.
We have to grade the eggs, and then we have to put the eggs in the appropriate size boxes. So basically the eggs are loaded on at this point.
Okay. On the flats?
On the flats. The
Okay.
flats are loaded on, and then the suction picks it up, puts it onto the spool bars, runs it through the washer.
Okay.
Runs it through a sanitizer.
Okay.
And then over on the other side there, you can see those big fans. Basically, they're just blowing the excess water off of the eggs.
Like
There's
a
no
car
heat
wash?
involved. Right, exactly like a car wash. You couldn't have described it any better. Once the eggs go through the washing and sanitizing process,
Yep.
they come into the quality control center.
Okay.
Okay. This is where we control the quality of the egg for several things. Okay. Grade A's, grade double A's, grade A's, grade B's.
Yep.
So this is where all of that is done right there.
And this is done by computer?
Well, it's done by computer, but there's also humans. We got a couple of gals that stand here, and they make selections based on what they see. So basically, they're just touching the egg with the wand, and they can basically tell that egg where they want it to go. Once that's all picked out, and nothing but double A eggs are going onto the grater. Mm-hmm. A grater basically determines the size of the eggs.
So this is medium, large,
Exactly.
extra large.
Eggs are not actually graded by size, they're graded by weight.
I was just going to ask you that.
Okay. So once the egg is grabbed, it runs along the bottom.
Yep.
And they are dropped into these brushes.
Brushes.
Obviously, it's a soft blow, you know.
Yep.
And then they just kind of roll out underneath the brushes, and they fill up each segment of the packer. And as soon as that half dozen eggs is dropped into the pocket,
Yep.
it's very mechanical. So every time this line is filled with a half a dozen, it will drop down into any program that we tell it to.
Okay.
So we can pack a 2x12, 2x6. We can pack an 18 pack. We can pack a 30 pack. We can pack whatever we choose.
Okay.
This actually is our carton for our heirloom eggs that we're producing up the street.
Awesome.
So basically this is a 2x6.
Yep.
So this is what we're packing, okay?
Yep.
From there, we drop a little newsletter into it. So we let our folks know what's going on our farm. Sometimes it's nutrition notes. Sometimes it's just a funny little story.
Yep.
Sometimes it's educational. So it's a great marketing tool
It is.
for us.
And it's adorable.
Yes. From there, they go right into the cooler, and they're stored at the temperature that we like.
So this what looks like a very simple system is actually quite complex.
It is.
When we come back, we're going to take a look at why Rhode Island Reds are so special. All right, Bob, so type of bird is a Rhode Island Red.
Correct.
Where do they come from?
Well, they've been around New England for a long, 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 long time.
Now, you chose Rhode Island Reds. Why?
Well, first of all, they're a brown egg layer.
Yep.
Okay.
And you guys you do brown eggs.
Brown eggs, they're just relevant in New England. You got to have brown eggs. So that was the biggest reason for choosing them, was the brown eggs.
Yep.
Obviously, they're very good as far as what we use them for. Obviously,
seem very
producing
hardy.
eggs. They are. This one happens to be the best that we can actually find for the New England atmosphere. You know, we have 4 seasons, so
Right.
they acclimate good into those 4 seasons.
Is there anything special about this girl right here that you're holding?
Well, she's hardy. Her body weight is like right on target. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm feeling her
She's got a
crop
full
right
crop
now.
right
She's
there.
got a full crop. So she's been eating. She'll be laying. She'll be laying for quite a while. She's only about 52 weeks old.
She's got
Obviously, nice red comb.
Yeah.
No deficiencies in it whatsoever. She's just good. She's a good bird.
She is
Just
good.
like all her sisters.
Nice color, good
The
feathers.
hardest time I have is remembering all their names. I just can't do it.
All right, so we're on.
So
Eggs
this
are
is how
coming
we
out.
collect the eggs on this side. It's a little bit different from the other side.
This is incredible.
So everything over here is hand collected.
Some of them are warm. I can't keep up. So, Bob, what's going on over here?
Oh, well, the girls, I taught them how to spell this morning.
We should see what it actually
Look
says.
what we've got.
We have. So we gotta move them down 1. Well, would you
Yeah.
look at that?
Look at that.
I gotta readjust that one. Who knew chickens could spell? So Bob, we're obviously across the street, different facility, looks larger, looks a lot more mechanized. Tell me about it.
These houses hold about 3 times as many birds as the houses across the street.
Interesting.
Okay, it is much more modern. It's much more efficient.
Yep.
So it's cheaper to produce.
All right, Bob, so tell me what these are called that are holding all of the eggs.
So these are individually called flats.
So like a
Okay,
flat
there's
of eggs.
Flat of eggs, 2.5 dozen,
Yep.
30 eggs on each flat.
Yep.
This is a palletizing system that we use to move the eggs from production facilities to the processing facility.
Okay. All right, so this is what I'm used to getting in the restaurant industry. This is 15 dozen eggs, so how many flats is that?
So it would be 6 flats.
6 flats in this box. It's quite a few eggs. But yeah, this is the half size that I would buy with your beautiful logo on it.
Yeah, 180 eggs or 15 dozen.
All right, so over here are some of the eggs from today's collection.
Exactly, that's what this is. Yeah.
Perfect. So would you say this is a full pallet?
Well, it's very close. We're a
Close.
couple stacks short on the other side.
It's not terrible though.
Yeah, not terrible, not terrible. But like I said, this is representative of about half of the production that came from that house.
Perfect.
They've already refrigerated the eggs
Yep.
that they collected earlier. So, rule of thumb, FDA,
Yep.
you have to put the eggs at 45 degrees if you're not going to process them within 36 hours.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So now this is approximately 10,000 eggs, 20,000 birds. Would you be able to show me where all of these eggs were laid?
Sure,
All
we
right.
can take a walk there.
Let's do it. Hey guys, coming up next, we're gonna go see the hens in the hen houses. Welcome back, guys. Let's go inside and meet the hens.
So this is the headroom, Liz.
All right. Oh, look at this. Awesome. How
It
old is
is.
the building?
Well, this facility housed its first chickens in the summer of 2016.
Oh my God, so the building's 3 years old.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, square footage wise, how big is the building?
The square footage on this building is more than a football field. So we actually have 32,000 square feet for this building.
So it's 32,000 square feet, 20,000 birds. The building's only 3 years old. That's awesome. And then this, it turns on and off. So tell me about this.
This is what's so much different than the other side of the street.
Okay.
The other side of the street, all the eggs are hand collected.
Literally hand collected.
Literally hand collected by individuals. This facility, you can see that there's belts where the eggs that
Look,
are
there's
coming.
an egg.
Yeah, so here comes
Oh my
the
God,
eggs.
look.
Here comes the eggs coming
Look at
out.
them.
And they are automatically taken right up into the processing room, packing room.
So I assume the girls, their boxes where they're laying, are they like graded? So they just kind of rolled down?
Yeah, so we can get a little shot of that in there.
Okay.
But we can, basically the nest's bottoms are pitched towards the center.
Yep.
So when the chicken stands up, her egg rolls right down onto the belt, and we take it from there.
This one's warm. Yay!
Yeah, that one's...
I love, it's really funny because, and I tell this to people all the time on my show at home, is that there's nothing better than a farm fresh egg.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no competition between the two. The texture, the color, the taste, the fat content, I don't buy eggs. I raise my own. I had a dozen of your eggs and they were gone in 2 days. But this is fantastic. I love this. These little eggs, and I love the warm ones. Somebody just laid it.
Just laid, obviously.
Yeah. All right, so I can see a ton of eggs coming out. Let's go see where this conveyor belt starts.
Sure.
All
Let's
right.
take a walk inside.
Let's go. Ladies. All right, so taking a look inside, there are birds for miles. Approximately how many chickens are in here?
Approximately 20,000.
20,000, somewhere around there.
Give or take.
Give or take one or two.
Yeah.
Here we are. Cedar shavings?
These are shavings.
Yep.
Yeah, so we put the shavings down so that they have some pretty fresh litter to scratch around in and
They love doing that.
do what they like to do. It's part of natural behavior. Over here, what we have
I was going to say,
is
explain
we
your
have
system.
a feed track right here. So basically, the feed hopper supplies the track, and it takes it all the way down to the other end of the building and back. So it makes a big 360 all the way around.
Yep.
The feed is set on a timer, so we're feeding the birds libitum. Our method, about 7 or 8 times a day, that will come on.
Wow.
We give them a little length of time in the middle of the day,
Yep.
so they'll clean it up and eat it and not waste it. But that's how we feed the birds. As far as getting water to the birds, you can see that these little nipples with these little red cups.
Yep.
There's 1 nipple for every 12 birds.
That's pretty good.
So they got plenty of water.
Yeah.
They can get all the water they want. And then the nesting system, you can see where the hens are standing up on top of the nesting system.
With the little red doors? Is that where they go
those
in?
little red curtains are just their own little boudoir. They go in there and they love to lay in a darker area. It's just the natural thing for a chicken to do.
Yep.
So these nesting systems are automatic. They have floors in them.
Yep.
And I'll give you the example. 5 o'clock this morning, those floors basically opened up. And then at 6 o'clock tonight, they'll close up and move all the birds out. All the eggs will roll down onto the belt that's left there so that there's no messes made in the night.
So you don't want them sleeping in there at night. You want them roosting
I want them
at
on
night.
these perches at night, and there's enough perching in the house.
There's a ton of
for
it.
every bird to have 6 inches of purse space.
And that's almost the perfect amount of space. I mean, I've seen crowded birds before. They still make room, but 6 inches is perfect when you think about the size, the age of these birds. This is amazing. So from the time that the girls start laying and one pops out the back, is heading down the conveyor belt, how long does it take for that egg to get to my grocery where I pick it up?
Approximately 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
Is that a standard?
That's a very
small
short window.
window.
That's a small
That's
window for us. We code our eggs with a 45-day shelf life.
Awesome.
Okay.
Perfect.
So you've seen our new facility.
I have.
So, and how it works. So let me take you over to the older facility.
The original facility?
The original Country Hen where we started. And I'll show you a layer house and how it works over there.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's go.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. When we come back, we're going to learn about how the Country Hen got started. Hey guys, welcome back. Now, let's hear about how a search for gold laid a golden egg for the Country Hen founder. Oh, hi girls. Hi girls. So cute.
I understand that you raise your own chickens.
I do.
Yeah.
So
Isn't it fun?
Oh my God. People have no idea, and I find that chicken people are chicken people. So I've been raising my birds, all different kinds of breeds, for about 4 years. I free range just like this. My girls sleep at night in coops that look just like your barns. And simple story. So since we're here, tell me about the Country Hen.
Well, this started years ago with the original founder, George Bass. Way back in the early 60s, he actually went down to Bogota, Colombia to mine for gold, looking for gold. He ended up finding that gold in the form of chickens and eggs.
Knowledge? Is that what he found down there?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't find any gold. He started very small with 3,000 chickens in a garage, and that business grew into a farm with about 250,000 birds. Over some time, he realized that he had some issues with the way that the grain was being grown and the effects that it had on not only the chickens, but the employees and the workers and the people that harvested all that feed. So he really got inspired by Rachel Carson's Silent Spring.
Know that book?
Yeah, we know it. And it changed his whole thought process on how he should be doing this. So it just came to where he wanted to do everything as natural as possible.
Makes sense.
So going to organic made sense. So he moved from Bogota back to Massachusetts, and he found this little farm back in 1986 and was absolutely 100% certified on the feed side in 1988 when he became incorporated. Basically, the way I would describe George would be a pioneer of the organic egg industry.
These eggs have fantastic nutritional value, and that's because of the special organic blend of feed that Country Hen uses. They're packed full of nutrients like omega-3s, lutein, choline, and vitamin D. There are a million ways to prepare eggs, but today I decided to go with one of my favorites, deviled eggs. Plain and simple. Right here in front of me, I have my whites, my filling is ready in the fridge, and then of course we have a little garnish at the end to jazz it up. So let me grab my filling before we get started. Now, when it comes to deviled egg filling, there are just a few ingredients that go into it. We have our egg yolks, we have mayonnaise, mustard, either ground, Dijon, or maybe even a little whole grain, a little extra virgin olive oil, salt, and pepper. Keeping it simple is best. Over-dressing a deviled egg can sometimes be the downfall. Now, I have a piping bag here. I've already cut the tip off, and we're gonna take a look at kind of how this comes out of the bag. Maybe we need to adjust, maybe we don't. Also, doesn't have to be the perfect pile inside of a deviled egg. You can go sideways, okay? You could always go around in a circle, just as is. I find that a little height goes a long way on a deviled egg. Or you can kind of go back and forth motion. But whatever you decide on, just make sure that your filling tastes best. Now, we are gonna finish these with a little bit of chive, and then of course, my favorite, some smoked paprika. The chives I really think are just for color, even though they taste well, beautiful as well. Okay? And then of course, tiny bit of paprika just to put some natural color on it. Okay? And there you have it, guys. Plain and simple, my favorite, deviled eggs. Well, guys, I had a lot of fun today at the Country Hen, and I hope you enjoyed the trip. Join me next week as we venture out into the culinary world, seeing some of my favorite suppliers, vendors, and chefs around New England. I'm Liz Bramwell, and this is The Foodie. I know. Don't poop on me, okay?
Play whatever you want.
I'm just hoping she doesn't poop on me anymore.